I know that the title is a bit hyperbolic, but I didn't know how else to really explain this because I am truly stunned at the ridiculousness of these claims from Sam Harris that we're going to be looking at about the 2020 election. He's going to make some pretty ridiculous claims here. He was on Joe Rogan's podcast, and they came up to talking about the 2020 election, talking about who can beat Trump, sort of speaking about some of the candidates that there are, and they, start talking about Tulsi and Warren, and, they're just having a discussion here. Now, Sam Harris is going to give his thoughts, and they're going to be really jumbled up and pretty ridiculous, and he's going to say that what the Democrats need is a young Michael Bloomberg. Check it out.
Yeah, it's very, it'll be interesting to see how the 2020 campaign plays out.
Well,
but I'm certainly worried that we could totally blow it with some leftist
socialist
SJW uprising.
Yeah, that would be unfortunate because I think that would just double down the other side. We would be better off with some sort of a reasonable centrist, right? Someone who just made sense. Yeah. And, one of the things that I liked about Tulsi is that she's a veteran. And, she seems very reasonable to me. But
except I haven't followed her career closely, but it just seems like she's not making the right noises on things like Syria and Assad. And,
I don't know enough about that to comment.
Yeah,
I don't know enough about Assad and the controversy of whether or not he gassed his.
Well, no, that is, I think, uncontroversial. In terms of what that is uncontroversial. In terms of what she is saying about it,
about him.
She's capable of putting both feet in her mouth on that. And
I thought she's saying he's not an enemy of America, right?
Yeah, again, I'm not close enough to it, but I would, be very circumspect about endorsing her going forward. And we did do a little homework because I think her candidacy is not going to age well. That's my prediction.
Who do you like? Who makes sense to you? Elizabeth Warren's fucked now. The most recent one?
Yeah, she's gone.
The most recent one where she filled out an application, she wrote Native American on it?
Just having done the DNA test, playing that game with Trump, that was such a miscalculation.
Well, the fact that she released the data, and the data is so clear. Well, it's almost like she had to, because otherwise he would call her Pocahontas to the end of time.
But then to have to apologize to Native Americans for having done the it's just
because the amount of Native American is so little. I've been joking around about it that I am like 100 times more African than she is Native American.
Yeah.
I'm 1.6% African, and she's way less than 1% Native American, right?
But this is the sort of masochistic death spiral that people on the left can get into. It's like like the left. I've always said that the left eats its own in a way that the right never does.
Right.
And we have to find someone who can stand outside that circular firing squad, right? And it would be someone who's it would be, in my view, it would be somebody like a younger Bloomberg, right? I don't think it's Bloomberg, but like somebody like a legit businessman who could call bullshit on all of Trump's fake business acumen, and who's not ethically compromised, right? But who can get stuff done, and so and it's definitely not someone who feels the need to pander to the far left on these identity politics issues. I think identity politics is really going to be bad for us against Trump because so much of the country, the crucial sliver of the country, you just have to ask yourself, who was it who voted for Obama and then, or twice, and then voted for Trump, right? Those people aren't racist. Those people are sick of being called racist. So what's happening on the left around identity politics and all of these, it's not that race problem, it's not that transgender issues don't have to be worked out. All of those are legit concerns, but the fact that that's the center of mass politically on the left in a nationwide election against someone like Trump, I just think that's an absolute recipe for disaster.
Yeah, because the people that subscribe to that ideology don't realize how many people think it's silly.
Yeah,
when you're in the oppression Olympics and you're trying to win the gold,
and for how many people it's actually misapplied.
Yeah.
Right. It's like there are many more explanations for voting for Trump, but that's not the story about why Trump got elected.
It's a long story.
there's just much more. I mean, there are people who just have not.
What do you think
are not thriving in the current economy? You know, I mean, it's just like you got automation displacing manufacturing jobs. You got the consequences of trade and immigration, and you have legitimate concerns about. There are legitimate concerns about immigration. So if you're going to score any hesitation over something like open borders, you're going to lose virtually everyone who has a sane concern about how you keep people in, how you admit the right people into a country, right? I mean, there are economic concerns and there are social concerns, and I mean, and you don't have to be Ben Shapiro to share some of those concerns, right? I mean, I'm not.
Yeah. So first of all, Joe Rogan sitting there saying that that there should be a centrist. I don't even think he really believes that, because he countered Barry Weiss, who was saying that same thing. I feel like he just said that to kind of keep the convo going. This convo is a little bit awkward in terms of what they were saying, but a centrist is not the way to go. Hillary Clinton was barely left of center. Barely left of center, guys. We're talking barely left of center, okay? We're talking about wanting to keep Obamacare in place. Obamacare, remember, that was something that was proposed by the Heritage Foundation. That was, I believe, Bob Dole's plan, which was, response to single payer. It's what their response was. Instead of single payer, let's do this. And conservatives who shit on Obamacare are all crazy. It's like, dude, it's a gift to private healthcare industries because it's literally mandating you get insurance. And it's really cringy to watch them do that. But, dude, why would you want to repeat 2016? This is what I don't understand about anybody who's saying something like that. We saw what happens when you don't run a real progressive and when you run someone who's barely left of center. When I say barely, I mean barely left of center, dude. She was barely left of center, and you see what you got. Nobody wants to come out to vote for you. There was also her really crappy campaigning. It was really a monsoon of garbage as to why she lost. But that was a big reason. Remember, I forgot who it was. I think it was somebody in her campaign or a top-ranking Democrat who literally said, I remember reading this article where it said, for every, I don't know how they deemed it, like Bernie Sanders supporter or far-left Democrat we lose, we'll pick up 2 moderate Republicans per, which is an insane claim. But this myth that there exists a moderate Republican voter, that doesn't that's not a thing. Republicans will fall in line and vote for whoever. Okay, it doesn't matter. So stop trying to pretend like that's a real thing. It doesn't fucking exist. And that's what you get when you buy that kind of stupidity that you saw there. And he says that the Democrats need a young Bloomberg. I mean, where to even start with that? First of all, nobody likes these plutocrats, basically these people who just get their power because of their wealth. So the only reason we know about Howard Schultz is because he's rich as fuck. He's a billionaire. Same thing with Bloomberg. I believe I just saw a video of Bloomberg recently saying, no, we can't have Medicare for all because we can't afford it. You think that the people are going to vote for that? I just talked about the polling numbers and all these policies, these progressive policies. Medicare for all, 70%. Okay, you're talking about a majority of the country saying they support a Medicare for all system. Increasing taxes on people making more than $10 million a year. That was I think it was 70%, 70+%. A Fox News poll had it at a 40+ margin of people. A Fox News poll, guys. These are popular things. Free college is also a majority. We're talking about like all of these different things are polling heavily. And so a Bloomberg, which nobody likes Bloomberg, and this idea that there's this super wealthy businessman who is not, I think he said something like, not ethically compromised, that doesn't exist. To get to that spot to being a billionaire, you have to have fucked up somewhere. And you have to sort of cut some corners somewhere. And that's what they do. But where do you get that at? Like, what do you have to support that? What data do you have? What is there? What on God's green earth have you come up with to support that conclusion? That doesn't make any sense. How are you going to say that a young Bloomberg would be good for the Democratic Party? How? That doesn't make any sense. No one's going to support a young Bloomberg. That's not this is almost like where Sam Harris is going the other way, where, there were some Democrats who used to be like, oh, we need our own celebrity to run. He's doing this, but with a rich person. He's like, we need a businessman to run who's smart, who can call him out. No, that's not what we need. That's not what we want. That's not how you win over voters. It's unbelievable that he said. I really honestly could not believe that he made that statement. Then the political analysis gets really vapid really fast. The whole thing was vapid, but he says, oh, we got to make sure we don't get a far left super SJW or some shit like that. Stop conflating left and right spectrum with whether or not what your social views are, and like SJW or whatever. That's not how political compass works. Okay? So, for example, like someone like, I don't know, Hillary Clinton or Kamala Harris, whoever the hell they think is some sort of a super SJW or whatever, that doesn't make them far left. They're barely left of center. So someone like Hillary Clinton, for example, she just wants to keep Obamacare in place. She doesn't want free college. She doesn't want $15 minimum wage. I believe she wanted a $12 minimum wage. But who knows what she would actually do as president? Remember, she's got private and public opinions. So we don't know what her private opinions are. Don't forget about that. But the point here being, guys, that is not right, okay? Just because you're supposedly an SJW or whatever the fuck that means, that doesn't mean that you're far left. You can't just deem someone far left because they're supposedly whatever you deem to be a social justice warrior. That's not how the political compass works, fool. That's not how it works. Where's the economic talk? There's no speaking about economic issues whatsoever, which is the main thing. I believe the most recent poll is economy is most important to people, and it makes sense because that's what directly affects them. Their daily lives are affected by economics and the economy. So where is that? And then he starts talking about how, well, why did Trump win? And then as we all know, guys, the Rust Belt fell. Think about it this way, okay? And this is something I mentioned, I think, yesterday. But it's pretty crazy to think about how any other Republican other than Trump will be able to win ever again. Because think about it like this. Both Ohio and Florida dropped and went to Trump, and he still needed to go through what was deemed the blue wall in those three Rust Belt states. So what you're looking at here is that's not looking good for them. But most importantly, the Rust Belt states didn't fall for Trump because they were tired of being called racist. The two-time Obama voters didn't vote for Trump because they were tired of being called racist. Where the hell did that come from? The reason why they did that is because of Trump outflanking Hillary Clinton left on free trade policy. So he's saying, I'm gonna bring your jobs back. If you're someone in the Rust Belt, your job just got shipped overseas. Who are you gonna vote for? The one who said that the TPP was the gold standard, which the Trans-Pacific Partnership is a very scary thing, by the way. And then her husband was obviously the one who passed through NAFTA, and I'm assuming she supported that, obviously. Who are you gonna vote for? Trump or Hillary? It's pretty obvious to me, right? You're going to end up voting for Trump because that's what you believe. I believe, and Trump is also this shifty guy. Remember, during the campaign trail, I believe he said that, he's not like other Republicans. He's not going to touch your Social Security and Medicare. And so I remember seeing this town hall with Bernie Sanders where he's in West Virginia, just straight up Trump town. And all of them are saying, we all need health care, and we thought Trump was going to give us health care. Those are the reasons why Trump won, not because it's such a dumb idea. Like, oh yeah, all those people were being called racist, and so they decided to go for Donald Trump. One thing I will say that is that I think they mentioned there and is right is just saying that all Trump supporters are racist is not a good strategy, nor is it correct. I do have to agree with that. And then they start talking about open borders, and Sam Harris started talking about open borders as if that's actually a position of the left. I don't even know a single person on the left who is for open borders. I don't even know anyone. And actually, open borders is really more of a libertarian policy than a left-wing policy in the United States. Because if you'll recall, the freedom of movement of labor, and then you have the Koch brothers trying to do that because they want to maximize profits. And basically, if you have low-wage workers flooding in like crazy at too high amounts, wages go down. So they want that. They're on record for doing that. The Koch brothers, all their all their think tanks and everything have put out studies supporting it and endorsing it and everything. You can look at those. But trust me, dude, open borders are not a position of the left. Nobody on the left. In fact, a lot of the Democrats who are, in office right now, like, they make a lot of concessions for the wall. And border security, more importantly, is what they do. So that part didn't make any sense either. And I'm just, I have to say, I'm just very disappointed with Sam Harris's political analysis, because it just seems like it's non-existent, to be honest. I mean, that was just kind of like a flurry of randomness, As soon as you say that the Democrats need a young Bloomberg, you've lost it. And I have to say that Sam Harris is a very mixed bag. The most mixed bag I've ever seen in my entire life. He's truly a phenomenon, if you will. But he is somebody who I respect, but I don't know how I can really, how I'm supposed to react to this, other than with scorn and, just like, wow, I can't believe you'd say something like that. Something that stupid. Now, recall also, he has a record on failing when it comes to something like this. So, for example, and this is the most important example, remember, he endorsed Hillary Clinton over Bernie Sanders. So that is an L that you cannot come back from. You were proven wrong. All the polling data showed that Bernie was going to win. We all knew Bernie was going to win, but you endorsed Hillary Clinton over Bernie Sanders. Let's keep it real, bro. You may have like the, philosophical shit going on or whatever, which I still fucks with, but your political opinions suck big time, dude. They are really, really bad.